Another episode of Crypto Chemistry here. Mr. Swiss here, joined with Crypto Chem and Sup Doggy of Starshell. Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Hey.
Doing great.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. So I'm super stoked to bring you on, Sup Doggy, because this new wallet that you're working on is really looking sharp. So I think if we take a little time to introduce you to the audience and maybe getting to know you a little bit better before we dive into the product would be really cool. So
yeah,
I think to start it off, it would be great to know about you, what your background's like, and what you've been up to before Starshell.
Sure. So yeah, I go by Sup Doggy, and my real name is Blake. I'm fully doxxed. You can find me online. My background is I've been programming since I was a teenager. I studied computer science in college, and then I actually continued on and got a PhD in data science and geography, and now a software engineer at NASA JPL, and been involved with crypto for a while. I think I really got excited when Ethereum came out because, of smart contracts. And I hadn't heard about Secret Network until just maybe a little under 2 years ago, when one of my colleagues, Darwin Zero, who is the guy behind Fartles, one of the early Secret Network dApps that was like a social media experiment. And he's also written some of the most well-known developer guides for getting started with the Secret Network. Great guy, also computer scientist. He got me into Secret Network initially, and I immediately thought it was very cool. The whole idea of programmable privacy, hidden state, just unlocked so many use cases for dApps that are impossible anywhere else. Most notably, simply you can't play poker on any dApp unless you have hidden state, right? Because otherwise there's no guarantee that people you're playing against can cheat. So immediately got very excited about Secret Network. Him and I actually teamed up at the 2021 Hackathon, and we competed in the Secret Network Gaming Challenge and won first place, which we were super stoked about. And the game is called Prisoner Games, spelled the Silicon Valley way, so PRISNR.games. And it's a testnet only game. It's not on real mainnet. And it was kind of exploring a lot of the ideas we had. Some of the reasons why we got so excited about programmable privacy in the first place is the ability to have hidden state, what that unlocks in terms of the prisoner's dilemma, which is what inspired the name, and a lot of game theory concepts that we really explored with that. So we were really stoked about winning that, and it kind of kickstarted our way to really get more involved with the network. And I think around that time, maybe before that competition, I had been thinking about, just in my experience with using Secret Network, using Secret Swap, interacting with the platform, kind of just a frustration with the accessibility to the network, namely through, Kepler kind of being the only option that you have to interact with any dApps. And it's not so much just that I found the interface a little bit limiting, but the fact that it's only supported on Chromium based web browsers on the desktop. You can't do anything on mobile. Sure, you can transact, but you can't interact with dApps, right? The whole point of Web3 is to interact with dApps. So all that frustration kind of made me feel like there was a barrier to entry for new users, right? I even tried bringing some of my friends into the Secret Network because of how excited I was and how attractive the DeFi space was in there. And one of my friends stuck with it and, read through all the tutorials. It took him a few days, but he eventually was able to get assets, up and running on Secret Network and using Kepler. My other friend tried for like a few weeks, like after work in his free time, and just gave up, right? He just couldn't do it. And I thought, like, right there is the perfect sample of just, how this current user experience to interact with, the Secret Network Web3 side of things is a barrier to entry for newcomers. So I created, thanks. I looked through, like what is being done about this, and saw that, my colleague who got some funding for, I think initially a hackathon, and then maybe got a second round of funding for the Fardals app, was, part of this grant program that Secret Foundation was had founded to, stimulate the ecosystem. So I applied for a grant because a lot of my background is in web, actually, like web development. And so I kind of felt like that with my experience with, crypto, like, I've spent a few years toying with Ethereum smart contracts in grad school for some projects. But really, most of my experience is hardcore in web development. I thought this is kind of like the perfect application of my expertise, is building a better user experience for this new network that has very limited options in terms of, wallets. So I wrote the grant. Initially, it was called Whisper Wallet. Changed the name because I didn't realize that there was Whisper nodes. Didn't want to, step on their toes. We named it to Starshell, which is based on the name is inspired from this sci-fi novel trilogy that I'm a big fan of. And and the rest is history. It was selected to receive funding. We're still receiving funding every milestone from the Secret Foundation. And the goal now has kind of have broadened a little bit. So no longer are we just targeting Secret Network, we're also just targeting the whole Cosmos ecosystem, so other Cosmos chains as well. And I think that's gonna help us get to a much larger reach in terms of users and audience. So our main goals are, first of all, to enhance the privacy of end users on crypto in general. The Secret Network makes that a lot easier because of the privacy built into the network, but also for other chains as well. Like, there is still some anonymity that you can enhance by making smart choices about how the wallet does certain things. And if you guys are curious, I can talk more about that. But also making it more accessible to everyone, right? And accessible in a few ways. So accessible to, in like the traditional sense of the word of accessibility, right? Like, people with maybe who can't, visually see the screen, and they use some alternate form of input and output. As well as just easier to use, like people maybe who don't understand words like mnemonic, seed phrase, account, address, token, right? Like what is it like? I just want to send and receive micropayments. Can we also provide an interface for those people to get them onboarded into crypto, welcome them into the space, have something that's easy to understand and user friendly enough that they don't even really know that they're interacting with the blockchain, but they are comfortable in the fact that their transactions are being handled in a decentralized manner, where there's no not like for-profit middleman who is skimming off of the top of every one of their transactions, or reading their purchase history and studying their their data about what they like to buy and who they like to interact with, and then somehow using that against them, right? Which is kind of
Right.
what's led us to the current crisis in Web 2.0 is just this massive data collection and data siloing that is happening on a grand scale, which is something that I also studied in grad school quite a bit, just privacy on the web. So with that, I think that's a good opener. I think I've rambled enough.
Well, I think first off is it's good that you kind of did that, because many people might not be familiar with you or your background or really what your product is. So I think that's a really good in-depth explanation for them to get a full understanding of really what you built, what your background is, and what you're trying to really do with this product. Because I can certainly agree that there is a barrier to entry to secret, just in general, because there's extra steps inherently in the process of viewing keys, but also in the sense that there's truly a problem with the usability of really the only wallet that Secret has currently is Kepler. And it's really not a great experience for the users, and they really don't focus on Secret. So a lot of these SNP20 features that something like your wallet could do are not currently being tended to. So I think it was a really good opportunity that you took advantage of to start in Secret Network with something that's desperately needed, which is a wallet that users can use, that they can have ease of access to their funds, use it on their mobile, and make transactions when they need to make transactions, not when they're at the desktop. So I really appreciate you doing that just for the network. And also I really enjoyed using it. So I did the beta test and it was quite the smooth experience. So I don't know if you want to kind of go into a little bit about the actual app and what makes it different from what they're currently doing at some of these other places, or at some of the other companies that are providing wallets.
Yeah, cool. So thanks for saying that you enjoyed the MVP beta. We were kind of overwhelmed with the amount of feedback that we got. We were not expecting to have so many people join and use the wallets. We were stoked to have that many participants.
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, I cannot emphasize it enough. It was for being an MVP, I was blown away with the functionality and what it was able to do. So seriously, cheers to you guys for that.
Yeah, and I would be remiss if I didn't pay full credit of the fun and smooth ease of use of the wallet to our lead designer, who actually designed the entire user interface. Who is, I don't know if I can say his name or not. He hasn't given me permission, but his handle is Alesem, Alesem, on Discord, and yeah, he's absolutely fantastic designer. So really lucky to have him on the team. And as to what you were commenting earlier, I appreciate that you notice that really Secret Network is special in certain ways, right? It has concepts that don't exactly exist on other chains, most notably the viewing key, right? And query permits that have this way of passing around encrypted data where it has to go through middlemen where they can't read the encrypted data, but are able to get it to the node where it can be extract the correct data from the chain and then pass that back to the end user without anyone being able to see what's inside of it. But even beyond just like the specialties of Secret Network, one of the things that I'm kind of surprised not to see in many wallets today, in fact, I'm not even sure I've seen this in any wallets, but I don't want to speak for everything, is the ability to see and control what contracts have the ability to spend your tokens. So on Ethereum, for example, every time that you want to use a DeFi platform, if you want to swap tokens, if you want to loan or borrow, you're usually, it's not just Ethereum that you're loaning, borrowing, or swapping. It's usually some token, right? Some ERC20 token. And in order to do that, there's this step that people don't really seem to appreciate, which is that you have to approve that smart contract to spend your tokens, right? What does that really mean? What that means is you're putting your trust into a smart contract that was written by, some developer, that they're not going to get, that there's no backdoors or vulnerabilities that would allow an attacker or a malicious developer to go in and spend your ERC20 tokens, without your approval, or maybe as a side effect of some other malicious contract that you end up executing. So, there's no like easy way for users to like see and assess and manage these like approvals, right? These like whitelisted
Right.
smart contracts. And so something that we're doing in Starshell is making that very apparent, giving users the ability to not only see and manage that, but also override those options by default. So usually it's like, if you want to approve, like, for example, on Secret Swap, not throwing any shade at them, if you want to approve to like, interact with USDC on Secret Swap, the default is an infinite amount of that token, and the expiration date is never. That's the default. Like, because, it's not up to them to arbitrarily choose like a limit or an expiration date, right? It should be up to the user, but the wallet doesn't provide that interface. So that's just one example of a place where we're trying to like really improve these tools that are out there to help protect users that aren't even being used, right?
Yeah, and what I like about that, Blake, is that is a advanced feature. I would call that a more of an advanced feature, but you're going on this approach of helping the user experience for both kind of noobs and pros alike, because even for the crypto savvy user to come into the secret network, there's a lot of friction around learning how to use this network because of the advanced functionality. And I remember during the old days of 2021 with the Binance Smart Chain craziness that was happening about a year ago, and also the Uniswap craziness that was still going on. I mean, just the cycles of crazy bull cycles is what I meant. But when you have to approve those contracts to your wallet, you could easily get airdropped 100,000 tokens of some random smart contract. And as soon as you approve that token for your wallet, it drains the entire thing out because of the way the smart contracts are loaded. So there was no way to just easily manage the permissions of the wallet. Otherwise, the only way you would do it, you'd have to go to like custom third-party tools, custom websites that you would have to go out of your way to find. And so to be able to manage that within the wallet itself would be a huge improvement over anything on the market, even in other chains that aren't even related to Cosmos. So I would love to see that. That would make me probably a Starshell maximalist alone from a security perspective. So, I mean, these features that you're talking about developing are really, really game changing. And I think just to, we're coming up on some time here, and I really love the overview you gave of the different features. I noticed that you had a poll in your community, your Discord community, about asking everyone, what's the next assets? What other coins would you want to be trading? What other chains would you want us to support? And I was a little surprised. The top three, excluding the secret network, were, I think it was Atom, Osmo, and then Solana. And I was surprised to see Solana out of everything that I would have expected. I would have expected all Cosmos native. But when we started to go back and forth on it on our side and reflect about that, it makes sense, right? Because if you were to introduce this wallet and these advanced features to other chains, that would be a really great way to introduce the secret ecosystem to people who maybe have never heard of it or even tried anything on Kepler in the Cosmos. So is that the strategy that you're looking to employ?
It is. I mean, so Secret Network has taken a very smart approach, in my opinion, to poise itself as a token privacy hub on the greater cryptocurrency nexus, right? The attractive feature they offer is, hey, you have tokens on other chains, you have native coins on other chains, bring them into secret network, wrap them, by going over a bridge or over IBC, interblockchain communication, exchange them, swap them on a secret network, and then go back, to any other network, right? Very smart approach, because they're trying to poise themselves sort of in the center of this, greater privacy hub. So, and you can already see this on Secret Swap, right? I think the statistics on the bridges for the amount of money moved through the Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain bridge is massive, right? It's quite significant. It makes up a considerable portion of the volume on Secret Network. And what better way to help bring in new users than providing them with a wallet that also works on those other chains, right? So you're bringing the user experience not only just to the Secret Network, ecosystem, but also to the broader experience in crypto. So imagine being able to move your assets from one chain to another without having to, look up a tutorial on how to add a new chain, install a new plugin, connect the addresses, add them to your address book, all of that crap, which I think, a lot of people who are on Secret Network, the early adopters, had to do to get set up. I know I sure had to do it. Even just adding Binance Smart Chain is like a daunting task for people who are new to MetaMask. So our thought is, why make any of that extra work for the user? Why not just help bring as many chains as we can reasonably and securely and reliably support into the wallet for the users.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that, and I really can appreciate that you're bringing everything to one place, because I think all crypto users and Web3 participants can agree that we don't need more wallets or more applications or more apps or desktop apps. It's to the point now where I have so many I never know where to look. So it would be nice to get something that is all in one. I don't have to switch between all these different wallets to access my funds, to switch between chains. That is something I think is sorely needed in the greater crypto space, but also definitely in the Secret Network. You're kind of feel a little bit alienated in the Secret Network because of all the additional effort it takes to basically involve Secret. But I'm glad you decided to do it. So I guess we can probably wrap this up. I think we're hitting about time, and I think you've given a bunch of great info for our listeners. So appreciate you joining us here, Blake, and talking about your Starshell wallet, and we're hoping to hear from you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Thanks again for tuning in to another crypto chemistry episode here with Starshell Wallet, and we'll talk to you all soon.